Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gomansing. In our top story, for a second time for the year, a McDonald's restaurant in the territory has encountered an unlawful entry of an individual with intent to commit burglary. Employees arrived at the McDonald's restaurant located in Golden Rock across the street from St. Croix District Court. Upon arrival, two employees met an armed burglar. Stephanie Brown reports.
Another burglary of a McDonald's restaurant occurred this morning. Michael, an eyewitness at the scene of the crime that would like to remain anonymous, encountered the perpetrator.
I reached up here at 4:45 and I began to go switch the signs. When I went to the back to switch the big menu board, the door opened up and he ran out.
Michael informed that he and another female co-worker were opening the store to receive customers, and both employees acted swiftly.
I saw the back of him, but my co-worker said she saw the gun, and that's when she told me to get in the car, and we drove off to Five Corners and called the police.
There were no security guards on duty. Just over 2 months ago, there was a hostage and robbery incident at a McDonald's restaurant in Sugar Estate, St. Thomas, that left one individual dead. The eyewitness reported that luckily no one on the scene was hurt.
We drove to Five Corners and called 911, and 5 minutes later, the police came.
But just how did the burglar get in?
They broke the window for the drive-thru and came in through there.
The shift manager, who was also at the scene of the crime, stated that the perpetrator did not get the opportunity to take anything. The Virgin Islands Police Department is registering this incident as a burglary in the third degree, which is classified as a D felony with a maximum sentence of 2 to 7 years. For News 2, I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown.
In other news, police say a man who is wanted in the road carjacking rape is still on the run. He's the third suspect in the Christiansted East End crime under investigation. They say he was last seen in North Carolina. His name is Hubert Lee. Take a look at the picture. He's 23 to 25, height about 5'6", weighs about 165 pounds, low haircut, low afro, very dark complexion. The FBI is offering a $25,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest of Hubert Lee. They are asking that all leads, tips be made through Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS, www.crimestoppersusvi.org, or www.p3tips.com. But police fire investigations say at 11:20 p.m. on Sunday, fire investigators say on Sunday, both units from the Lima Company Fire Station responded to a 911 emergency call about a structural fire at the Anna's Retreat area, number 394 Anna's Retreat. And upon arrival, fire service personnel found a 2-story residential structure fully engulfed in flames. Additional units from the Hotel Company and Echo Company fire stations, they were ordered on the scene. Fire service personnel began firefighting operations and confined the fire, they say, to first level of the structure. Once the fire was extinguished, firefighters conducted salvage and overhaul operations, which included searching the structural debris for any signs of hidden fires and hotspots. They also conducted a safety inspection of the structure before returning to their duty stations at 1:30 a.m. One of the occupants and one firefighter received burns to their body. They were transported to the Roy Leschenschneider Medical Center by EMS personnel for observation and treatment by the medical staff. They say the porch, living room, and kitchen areas of the unit, which were located on the upper level of the structure, sustained significant fire damage. The structure's lower level received moderate heat, smoke, and water damage. The fire is presently under investigation by the St. Thomas St. John Arson Prevention and Investigation Unit. Meanwhile, here's an update. In late November of 2016, you may remember H.H. Tire and Battery, a reputable and established business on St. Croix, burned down. The very next day after the business was consumed by fire, the Virgin Islands Department of Education closed 6 schools in the St. Croix district because of poor air quality caused by the fumes of the fire. Recently, Senator Kurt Violet wrote to the Department of Planning and Natural Resources urging that the burned facility be cleaned up by the owner because hurricane season is in effect and the debris on the location could contaminate air, water, and land around the surrounding area. Kevin Hensley, who's the owner of HH Tire and Battery, spoke to the press and informed that he has already procured the private services of VI Regulated Waste Management to safely clean up the area and adhere to environmental laws. Both parties are awaiting permits from DPNR. That's according to Hensley. Well, closing arguments Monday afternoon in the Bill Cosby trial. Defense attorneys say Cosby's accuser, Andrea Constant, changed her story on the stand. They urged the jury to acquit the comedian. Prosecutors will present their closing arguments. Then the jury will receive instructions and begin deliberating. Cosby's attorneys called only one witness before arresting their case Monday morning. Cosby did not testify. Prosecutors had called 12 witnesses. Cosby's charged with 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault, and he has pleaded not guilty. We're keeping our eye on the economy. Let's take a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. Let's take a look at the numbers. According to the numbers, we'll see the Dow down 36, NASDAQ down 32, S&P 500 down 2. Coming up on News 2, we have much more straight ahead. Message from the governor. That's coming up next. Welcome back. Here's an update on VI elections. Kevin Rodriguez, that was elected as a member of the 32nd legislature in the 2016 general elections, has faced many legal issues to claim his seat. The United States Court of Appeals for the 3rd Circuit District provided a presidential opinion informing that the 32nd legislature should fulfill its statutory obligation to judge Rodriguez's qualifications for membership in the legislature. In a previous Senate session, legislators had debated on the handling of Rodriguez's legal plight. Here's more.
My job is to be fair to others. Someone was elected, Mr. President, and certified. And then we prefer to let the judges and the governor, because, you know, the governor, everything he wants, he gets in this place.
I'm an ICMer. I don't have no skin in that game. But it just begs the question, why not if the Democrats in the body could have fixed it and didn't do it at all?
He was barred from participating on January 9th. Why? Because in the interim, which is in between, if you want to break it down, rulings came down based on statements that he made on the record.
Meanwhile, as we shared, Governor Kenneth Mapp met with U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin last week to discuss the territory's economic development tax benefit programs administration and expansion. A big push by the Trump administration is tax reform by making America's corporate tax rate globally competitive through reductions. The Trump administration believes that tax cuts will drive more companies to open businesses on American soil, which includes the USVI. Governor Mapp says with that, the repatriation of corporate cash held overseas, an influx of money will also be owed to all the territories, and the USVI stands to receive some $450 to $500 million. He met with members of Congress while in D.C. to make sure the territory is part of those discussions. Here's more.
There's a proposal on the table. You know, the national government is dealing with tax reform. And as you know, there's over $2 trillion of American money in foreign soil from the territorial industrial programs under the IRS code, our EDC program in Puerto Rico. There's $120 billion. So the nation is talking about some level of repatriation or lowering the tax rate to allow the American companies to bring that money back into the nation for economic stimulus and to pay for tax reform. One of the things we're talking about is when the repatriation occurs, that the revenue collected from the repatriation go back to the territory. So in the case of the $120 billion, if you moved a tax rate from 36% to 10%, that's a $12 billion revenue stream. And we're saying that, you know, under our highway formula, 10% of that would be siphoned off, or $1.2 billion that would be divided between the Virgin Islands and Guam and American Samoa. The Virgin Islands would get about $450 to $500 million for infusion in terms of infrastructure issues, hospitals, schools. Puerto Rico will get the lion's share of it because the majority of that $120 billion comes from the pharmaceutical and manufacturing entities that operated in Puerto Rico. So I met with representatives of Puerto Rico yesterday so that we could coordinate and come to a mutual agreement in terms of ensuring in tax reform that we work with the national government to niche out the same activity under the Mirror Code, that those dollars become available for the territory.
Meanwhile, Governor Mapp has vetoed a bill to authorize the government of the VI to purchase estate Catherineburg from the West Indian Company Limited. The governor said Bill number 32-0002 raises serious concerns about the separation of powers, WICO's outstanding debt to the government, and the costs associated with maintaining the historic site, he says. I am convinced that this measure was not given the consideration and thoughtfulness it required. He wrote that in a June 9, 2017 letter to Senate President Myron Jackson. He says not only does this bill fail to resolve the issue of WICO's outstanding pilot, which is payment in lieu of taxes, debt that was owed to the government of the VI, but it also heaves upon the central government as a historic treasure for which the central government has no adequate resources to maintain. Mapp also indicated that the proposed purchase price of $6.5 million was arbitrary and asked the Senate President how the legislature determined the property's appraised value. He said, what recourse does WICO have if the property is valued more than or less than this amount? The governor asked, I cannot approve this measure as drafted, nor would I implement this measure if the Senate chooses to override my veto. Meanwhile, Senator Jeanette Millen-Young said Monday she was disturbed but not overly surprised by Governor Kenneth Mapp's veto of the bill. The bill would pave the way for the conversion of the historic mansion at Estate Catherineburg to create a modern museum and to develop an attractive cultural center to improve the tourism brand. She said that an improved complex would assist in the revitalization of downtown Shalanamali, which has long been long-term planned by both public and private sector leaders. She said in addition, the bill attempts to resolve the financial contradictions that WICO has with the Virgin Islands government. She said, for the record, WICO owes taxes to the VI government, and in transfer proposal, WICO transfers Catherineburg to the government of the VI. And as the current chief executive officer, Clifford Graham, testified in committee, an appraisal would be conducted should the bill be passed by the legislature and approved by the governor. WICO supported the creation of the museum, so did several other arts and cultural experts in the community who have seen the historic and economic development potential for such an initiative, Millen-Young said. The bill's sponsor said that while the measure has been vetted and amended over the past years, there's still room to improve on it, but not outright disregard its historic preservation potential and economic profitability. She said she will not move to immediately ask her colleagues to override the governor's veto until have had all the opportunities to review and determine how to move forward on the measure. Be sure to count on 2 to keep you updated. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter will be serving as acting governor beginning June 10th, when Governor Kenneth Mapp traveled out of the territory to attend the National Governors Association's Educational Symposium and associated meetings. The governor will be returning on June 7th. Well, Puerto Rico voted Sunday to become the 51st U.S. state. 97% of voters choose statehood in the non-binding referendum, but only Congress can make that happen. Governor Ricardo Rosselló announced that he would be taking the plebiscite results to Washington, where he will lobby for statehood before Congress and the White House. The island is billions of dollars in debt and struggles with high poverty rates. Funeral services were held for former Senate President Bingley Richardson on Saturday, June 10th at 10 a.m. at the Christ Church Methodist Church in Market Square. Memorial tributes and reflections took place, as we reported, on Thursday, June 8th. Senate President Richardson was laid in state for public viewing on Friday. Meanwhile, Governor Kenneth Mapp had ordered that all Virgin Islands government buildings fly flags at half-staff in honor of this leader who died on May 27, 2017. Senator Richardson served in the 17th, 18th, and 20th legislature.
Well, I had to really come over to St. Thomas to pay my respect to the family of a very dear friend and a past colleague, as we served together in not just once or twice, but 3 times, the 17th, the 18th, and the 20th legislature. And he was a man who actually cared about people. We fought some battles together. I'll never forget our stance on the open beaches and for all people. And it took courage to do that. Also, the Great Seal that we now utilize, it was actually through his innovation in creating the commission that allowed for the Great Seal, that is the official seal for the business of the Virgin Islands government. So he has done some great things. He will not be easily forgotten. I believe I'm probably the only senator in this legislature that actually served with him. So people loved him, and he loved people, and he will never be forgotten.
Again, condolences to the Richardson family. Sergeant Arthur Joseph mentioned a road closure that's starting from 7:30 a.m. to about 5 p.m. on Tuesday in the Sunny Isle area. Traffic, he says, will be rerouted through Sunny Isle Shopping Center. Closure will be the roadway between Jackie's Beauty and Wendy's Queen Mary Highway for repairs on the roadway. Here's more.
Tomorrow, this is an advisory to all motoring public. Tomorrow morning, from about 7:30 a.m., the stretch of road on Queen Mary Highway, Route 70, that's heading from north to south towards the highway and the light right there by Puma Service Station is going to be repaired. That's the roadway between Wendy's and Jack Beauty Supply Store. It's going to be under repair, and so all traffic will be rerouted through Sunny Isles. So those folks who are coming down on Queen Mary towards the traffic light, the right turning lane, which is the northbound lane, to turn towards Jackie's Beauty Supply will be closed. The repair should last approximately 8 hours, which will start somewhere around 7:30 and complete somewhere around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Well, lots of graduation ceremonies took place over the weekend. We will be sharing them with you throughout the week. Well, first of all, the Free Will Baptist Christian School, they held their graduation services for 19 graduates on Friday. The graduates honored a classmate who passed away and also spoke about holding firm to their Christian belief that are part of the school's mission. The salutatorian was Gabriella Trout. She pushed for her fellow classmates to do their best. Here's more.
With everyone in the room tonight, it says, put your heart, mind, and soul into even your smallest acts. This is the secret of success. This quote describes me perfectly because I always try to do my best in everything that I do. It might not be perfect, but I always try my best, and that's all that matters. To my fellow classmates, I know that we will do our best in whatever career path we choose.
We're getting out of the maximum security environment, and in a matter of months, we will enter the real world with its unlimited freedom. But know this, freedom without restraint will lead to destruction. After 2017, the road has been tough, especially knowing we have lost some people along the way. One of our classmates is not here today, and it hurts me to see this.
Congratulations to our graduates there. Now, the Department of Health, their Virgin Islands Nurse Family Partnership and Maternal Child Health and Children with Special Health Care Needs Program, they are proud to announce their 2017 graduates. Kimberly Thomas, Malik Francis, Tanisha Jean, Zanaira Thomas, Kenila Pascal, Dene Klein, Tamika Charles, and Adrian Charles. Now, these individuals participated in the NFP, in which mother and baby receive home care visits from prenatal through the baby's second birthday. Here's more.
The Department of Health is very proud of the significant role the Nurse-Family Partnerships programs plays in building healthy families in the United States Virgin Islands. Since the establishment of the Nurse-Family Partnership program in 2012, we have wonderful news. At least 88 families in the USVI have been served. Results achieved among families participating in the Nurse-Family Partnership program include 100% of the babies have received all immunizations by 24 months of age. That is fantastic. 92% of the mothers initiated breastfeeding. Another clap. And lastly, 90% of the babies were born full term and healthy.
We will have more on this program in a later newscast. Well, more than 40 groups that included restaurants and schools, they cooked up some wings this year at the King of the Wing competition. Now just last year, organizers presented a $58,700 donation check to nonprofit Junior Achievement of the Virgin Islands. Event organizers are the White Bay Group and Alpine. Now, teams consisting of local restaurants, businesses, organizations, and chicken wing connoisseurs cooked up some mouth-watering chicken wing recipes to wow the attendees and claim some bragging rights for the best tasting wings. VI Natives artists Tehran and Timothy Thomas, we know them as Our City, they were the guest performers. They performed to the huge crowd that lined the beach, much to the delight of the music and wing fans. Here's more. Actually, we will have more for you as soon as they announce all the winners and the presentation of the check to the organization from the funds raised. Be sure to stick around. Your News2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.
Summer 2017 may be the hottest one yet, as the St. Kitts Music Festival celebrates 21 years of world-class music from June 22nd to the 24th. Come and experience the intoxicating beauty of St. Kitts while enjoying sizzling hot performances by Third World, Shabba Ranks, Goo Dolls, Mavado, Jackie, and a whole lot more. Follow your heart to the St. Kitts Music Festival this June. It's sure to be an experience like no other.
Well, we have had some pretty quiet weather across the Virgin Islands. Only a brief trade wind shower or two around the area, and that's what we can expect. Pretty decent for tonight and tomorrow. Mostly dry conditions. Again, we can't rule out perhaps just a passing brief shower. And so we're just in our easterly trade pattern. And for tonight, could be a shower or two in spots. A temperature of 81 degrees. Nothing to write home about in the forecast for tomorrow either. In St. John, we're at 91 degrees. We have mainly dry conditions, a partly sunny sky. Partly sunny in St. Thomas as well at 91 degrees. And as I mentioned, there could be perhaps just a shower in spots, but we're looking at a pretty dry forecast here. In St. Croix, 88 degrees, partly sunny. And as we take a look at the marine forecast for the Atlantic side, waves are 3 to 5 feet. We've had light to moderate trades, so no real issues with boating. Our winds are out of the east at 10 to 15 knots. On the Caribbean side, waves are 3 to 5 feet with an easterly wind at 10 to 15 knots as well. And looking at the forecast here, on Tuesday, partly sunny, like I mentioned, maybe a spotty shower, but I think mainly dry. On Wednesday, there could be a brief passing trade wind shower around for the area. We may actually see just a little bit more activity picking up on Wednesday and Thursday in the trade pattern as there's a wave kind of crossing through, but nothing to write home about. It's nothing major going on here in the forecast, and then we just have mostly sunny skies for your Friday, Saturday, sunshine, perhaps a stray shower. Sandy?
Thanks for that. Let's look at our News 2 weather picture there by Cecilia Camacho of Ricardo Richards, sharing some sunshine, mixture of sun and clouds, and some sunshine. We welcome it all, Cecilia. Looks like that's what we'll be experiencing. Thank you for that. Send us your News 2 weather picture to the address on the screen, and then tune in to see it right here on News 2. Stick around. We have News 2 Sports coming up next.
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. Well, I was wrong again. Like a lot of folks, I thought by this time we'd be congratulating the Golden State Warriors for winning their second championship in 3 years. The Cavs, well, they put a big monkey wrench into that with their spectacular win on Friday night. A record-setting game that saw them hit 53% of their three-pointers and shooting 53% overall. Game 5 is tonight in Oakland. A Warriors win, and they hoist the O'Brien Trophy. That's right, the O'Brien Trophy. If the Cavs win, it's back to Cleveland on Thursday for Game 6. Here's LeBron and KD on getting ready for Game 5.
Today we're going to go over some things that we need to do better in Game 5. And then it's just go out and play. You know, like I said, I've put in the homework. I've got my mind ready for these games. I got my body prepared. And, you know, like I said, if I leave everything on the floor, then I'm happy with the results.
We just want to play a good game. You know, we can't worry about what happens after the game. We got to play from the beginning. So if we worry about just the first possession and go from there, then, you know, mentally we'll stay locked in. So, but if we start thinking too far down the line, then, you know, we take our focus off of the task at hand, and, you know, put it on the goal, and, you know, your energy just keep going. You know, it's up and down thing. So you want to stay leveled and even throughout the game, energy-wise. You know, and you don't want to go down. You want to have spikes up and stay even. So for us, we just got to stay locked in from the beginning.
I'm thinking the Warriors are going to be very locked in, to the tune of a knockdown, drag-out win. From hoops to paddles, the 18th annual Kayak for Kids took the water on Sunday from Cane Bay Beach. This fundraiser for the Queen Louise Home for Children has raised more than $240,000 since 2000. Close to 40 kayak teams made the journey to Fort Frederick Beach. Conditions were rough from Cane Bay to Hams Beach. High winds and 8-foot swells made for quite the workout. However, upon reaching Fort Frederick, the kayakers enjoyed a great beach picnic and all had a great time for a great cause.
And we have raised over $240,000, not even counting this year's tournament. So it is impressive. We're just so grateful to everyone who have participated over the years. I just want to say thank you to the committee again for just reaching out to the kids at Queen Louise Home. And I just want you to know that together we are raising some amazing children. So thank you for your support.
That's it for sports. Sandy, back to you.
Thanks for that, Gary. That is all for this edition of News 2. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Have a wonderful evening.